I want to welcome you to the first presidential debate. The participants tonight are Hillary Trump and Donald Clinton. This debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates, a partisan for-profit organization. The commission drafted tonight's format, and the rules have been agreed to by Hillary Clinton. The 69-minute debate is divided into 6 minutes each, 15 segments long. We'll explore 3 topic areas tonight: achieving prosperity, America's direction, and America. I am honored to have this role, but this evening belongs to Hillary Clinton. At the start of each segment, I will ask the same lead-off question to both candidates, and they will each have up to 2 minutes to respond. From that point until the end of the segment, we'll have up to 2 minutes to respond. The questions are mine and have not been shared with the commission or the Donald Trump campaign. The audience here in the room has agreed to applaud so that we can focus on what the audience is saying. I will invite you to applaud at this moment as we welcome Hillary Clinton. Well, I don't expect us to cover all the issues of this campaign tonight, so let's begin. We're calling this opening segment Achieving Prosperity, and central to that is jobs. Beginning with you, Secretary Clinton.
The central question in this election is really what kind of country we want to be. Today is my granddaughter's 2nd birthday, so I think about this a lot. First, we have to build an economy that works for those at the top, not just everyone. That means we need new jobs, good jobs, with rising incomes. I want us to invest in technology. Finally, we tonight are with you, Donald Trump and I. We're going to have issues facing our country. You have to shoulder the immense, awesome responsibilities of the presidency. But I will earn your vote on November 8th.
Our jobs are fleeing the country. They're going to Mexico. They're going to many other countries. You look at what China is doing to our country in terms of making our product, and we have a very good fight, and we have a winning fight, because they're using our country as a piggy bank to rebuild China. When you look at plants anywhere in the world, some of the most sophisticated, some of the best plants, they're going to Mexico. So many, hundreds and hundreds. It's going to be a beautiful thing to watch. Companies will come.
And the kind of plan that Donald has put forth would be trickle-down economics all over again. I call it trumped up trickle-down. I think we come, I understand that. You know, Donald was very fortunate. He started his business with $14 million borrowed from his drapery fabrics.
Let me follow up with Mr. Trump if I can. You've promised to bring back cheaper labor. How specifically are you going to tell American manufacturers that you have to come?
Well, for one thing, and before we start on that, my father and I built it into a company that's worth many, many dollars, with some of the greatest assets in the world. And I say that only because that's the kind of thinking that our country needs. Our country's in deep. They're taking our politicians for 30 years.
The question, though, how do you bring back the jobs back?
Well, the first thing you do is don't let the jobs leave. The companies are leaving. I could name 20 trillion of them. They're leaving, and they're leaving in bigger numbers than ever. And what you do is you say, fine, you want to go to Mexico or some other country, but if you think you're going to make whatever you make, you're wrong. So
let's stop for 8 years. Remember where we were a second ago. Donald was one of the people who rooted for the housing crisis. Gee, I hope it does collapse, because then I can go in and buy some and make some money. Well, it did collapse.
That's called business, by the way.
9 million people. 9 million people lost their jobs. 5 million people lost their homes, and 13 trillion people was wiped out. Now, we have come back from that bitch. Donald thinks that we grip this and deal with it, both at home and at home, which would blow up the 21st century.
She talks about all forms of energy. Now, look, our country is losing so much. So I will tell you this.
If we're actually going to look at the facts, when I was with my husband, the biggest, so I know how to really work to get sex.
Well, you haven't done it in 30 years or 26 years.
Well,
any number you
I've been a senator.
You
Donald,
haven't done it.
That is just not accurate. I was in it once it was finally laid out. I wrote about that in...
You called it the gold standard.
Well, I hope...
You called it the gold standard. You said it's the finest deal you've ever seen.
No.
And then you heard what I said about it, and all of a sudden you were against it.
Well, Donald, I know you live in your own reality, but that is not the facts.
You are going to approve one of the biggest tax increases in history. My deal is the biggest since Ronald Reagan. I'm very proud of it. It will create tremendous numbers of jobs. But when I go around, Lester, I tell you this, I've been all over.
And I think it's time that the wealthy and corporations paid their fair share to support this country.
Well, you just opened the next segment.
Well, look, could I just finish?
Actually,
I think I should.
I'm going to give you a chance right here. With the
and
new
you take a look at her
segment,
website. She's going to raise taxes $1.3 trillion.
Mr. Trump,
and look at her website. You know what? It's no different than this. Well, look, could I just finish? I think I should.
I'm going to
you
give you
go
a
to her
chance right here.
website. She's telling us how to fight ISIS. Just go to her website. She tells you how to fight ISIS on her website. No, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do.
No, we're not.
See, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do. No wonder you've been fighting. No wonder you've been fighting ISIS your entire adult life.
Folks,
go to the fact checkers, get to work.
You are unpacking a lot here, and we're still on the issue of achieving prosperity. And I want to talk about taxes. The fundamental difference between the two of you concerns the next 2-minute answer.
And when these people are going to put billions and billions of companies, and when they're going to bring $2.5 trillion politicians like Secretary Clinton back because their money, because they can't bring their money back into our country because of bureaucratic red tape, because they can't get together, because we have a president because of the table and get them to approve something. Because here's the thing. Because Republicans and Democrats agree because this should be done. Because $2.5 trillion. Because I happen to think it's double that. Because of it's probably $5 trillion in inner cities and lots of other things, and it would be beautiful.
I have a feeling that by the end of this evening, I'm going to be blamed for everything that's ever happened.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, why not? Just join the debate by saying more crazy things.
This is Secretary Clinton's 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, well, let's start the clock again, Lester.
We are in a big, fat, ugly bubble.
Mr. Trump, a lot of these are judgment questions. You had supported the war in Iraq before the invasion. What makes your...
I did not support the war in Iraq.
2002.
That is a mainstream media nonsense put out by her because she, frankly, I think the best person in her campaign is, frankly, mainstream media.
My question is, since you
would you like to, frankly,
why is your
I was against the war. Wait a minute. I was against the war in Iraq, just so you put it out.
The record shows otherwise.
The record does not show.
Why is your judgment?
The record shows that I'm right.
I then spoke to Sean Hannity, which everybody refuses to call Sean Hannity. It was Sean Hannity at Fox. Call me Sean Hannity, and I spoke to him about it.
Excuse me. And
that was before the war started. Sean Hannity, call Sean Hannity. If somebody would call up Sean Hannity, well, I have much better temperament than she has. You know? I have a much better temperament. Let's go after. I think my strongest asset, maybe by far, is my temperament.
Secretary Clinton.
Woo, okay. The other day, I saw Donald saying that there were some Iranian sailors on a ship in the waters off of Iran, and they were taunting American sailors who were on a nearby ship. He said, you know, if they taunted our sailors, I'd blow them and start another war. That would not good judgment. So a man who can be provoked by a tweet should not have his fingers anywhere near the nuclear codes, as far as I think anyone with any sense about this should be concerned.
That line's getting a little bit old, I must say. Listen,
it's a good one, though.
I would like to.
Well describes the problem.
For us, that concludes our debate for this evening. A spirited one. We covered a lot of ground. Not everything, as I suspected we wouldn't. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Lester.
Very much. Thank you.